chamber to the people. Let the voices ring. Laws are made. Debates take the wing.
I know we are going to be reposed with responsibilities.
Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Watch the Senate and the House of Representatives, where decisions flow. The Parliament, the place to know. The Parliament, see power at play. The Parliament, your window into democracy at work, only on Global Television. Hello and welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament, which deliberates on legislative policies. From the chambers of the National Assembly to the voices shaping Nigeria's democratic journey. Welcome once again. I am Aniete Patrick. Each week, we bring you the latest decisions, debates, and developments from the heart of the legislature, the bills shaping national policy, the motions addressing citizens' concerns, and the oversight actions holding government accountable. On this episode, in a decisive move underscoring Nigeria's leadership in regional security, the Senate has approved President Bola Tinubu's request to deploy Nigerian troops to the Republic of Benin following last weekend's attempted coup that threatened democratic stability in the country.
The approval came after the Senate met in the Committee of the Whole during plenary to deliberate on a letter from the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu seeking legislative consent for the deployment of Nigerian forces as part of a peace support mission in Benin. The request read on the floor by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, was presented as an urgent call to action in response to rising instability within the West African sub-region. After extensive deliberation, lawmakers unanimously voted in favor of the deployment, granting full constitutional backing to the President to proceed with the mission aimed at restoring order and safeguarding democratic governance in Benin. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, described the decision as a necessary step to protect regional peace, noting that instability in any member state of the Economic Community of West African States poses a direct threat to collective security.
Peace mission and restore order and sanity in that country, thereby saving Nigerians from thousands and thousands of refugees and also saving Nigerian borders from unnecessary criminality and disruption of peace and stability. Those in support of the confirmation of the approval say aye. Those against say nay. The approval is hereby confirmed.
With the Senate approval set to be transmitted to President Tinubu without delay, Nigeria's armed forces are now cleared to join the peace mission, reinforcing the country's commitment to regional stability and its frontline role in safeguarding democracy across West Africa.
Meanwhile, the Senate has taken a firm stance on soaring domestic airfares, summaring the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, alongside airline operators and aviation regulators. This move follows growing concerns over sharp price increases that threaten national mobility, especially ahead of the festive season.
The Senate's call to action emerged from a motion sponsored by Senator Buhari Abdul Fattah, who warned that skyrocketing airfares on key South-South and South-East routes could disrupt travel plans this Yuletide season. Data presented in plenary revealed that one-way ticket prices have climbed by as much as 150%, with fares now exceeding 300,000 naira compared to the pre-festive average of about 120,000 naira. Further analysis shows some ticket prices reaching a staggering of 400,000 to 600,000 naira on major routes like Abuja to Lagos. Lawmakers linked this surge in airfares to worsening highway insecurity and poor road network, which driven more Nigerians to choose air travel, intensifying demands and fare volatility.
From Abuja to Lagos ranges from 400 to 650,000. And then from here to Enugu is about 500,000. Even from here to Ilorin is about 450,000. When we noticed all this, the committee, we decided to even investigate further. And we now find out that cut across, people cannot afford to travel. Mr. President, it is important we wave in to help Nigeria because of this festive period that is coming, that people want to move from one place to the other, particularly since our road is becoming a bit difficult to travel on.
Other senators echo these worries.
The minimum wage for Nigerians is 70,000 naira. It means a civil servant will have to save 5 months' salary or even 6 months' salary before he could afford one-way ticket to Lagos. And in going to Kebbi myself, I have to spend close to about 700,000 naira. Mr. President, this is unaffordable. No corresponding increase in aviation fuel or aviation taxes by Federal Aviation Authority. FAN. Thirdly, issue related to foreign exchange. I'm of the opinion that in the past, there is this intervention by the Central Bank of Nigeria, while so many airline operators were given some consideration, in some exemption, concessional rates, and up to now, and I know it's still on. So there is need for us, having known all these facts, to bring all these relevant stakeholders and confront them.
However, the Senate has tasked its committees to meet with Minister Keyamo, airline representatives, and regulatory authorities this week. They are expected to explain the causes behind the fare hikes and propose strategies to stabilize air travel costs, ensuring affordable flights for Nigerians during the holidays.
As a matter of urgency, invite the relevant stakeholders in the aviation industry, including the Minister of Aviation, NCA, and FAN and others, to a closed-door meeting with the Senate to discuss the abysmal rise in airfares, to avoid exploitation of Nigerians, and also to alleviate the suffering of people and avoid disruption in travel during this Christmas period. And that this should be done immediately. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The Aviation Ministry and airline operators are now under pressure to provide clear answers and workable solutions as the festive season approaches.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is raising the alarm over soaring domestic airfares, warning that millions of Nigerians may struggle to travel home this Christmas. Lawmakers say the sudden spike is exploitative and threatens the nation's long-standing culture of festive reunions. Thursday's plenary session in the House of Representatives turned emotional as lawmakers condemned what they describe as an outrageous surge in domestic airfares. They say traveling by air has become prohibitively expensive, shutting out families hoping to reunite for Christmas. Obinna Agocha, who moved the motion of urgent national importance, urged the federal government to work with airlines operators to temporarily reduce fares during the festive season.
To establish a transparent assessment mechanism, to create a system to determine the true minimum necessary operational cost for airlines throughout the Christmas season.
Members blamed the rising demand for flights on the poor state of highways and worsening insecurity, which makes road travel unsafe for many Nigerians.
Talking about palliative will be pampering the problem rather than solving the problem. We need to provide more means for air transport for Nigerians.
While some lawmakers accuse airlines of exploiting travelers, others highlighted deeper industry issues from heavy government levies to the high cost of aircraft parts and the impacts of Harmattan weather on operations.
This has been an issue even at the level of Nigerians, but there is a particular issue the operators are talking about that I want to include in the prayers. They talk about various levies. They even said about 70% of all constitutes airfare is as a result of levies by the aviation or in the aviation industry.
Following the heated debate, the House resolved to establish a transparent mechanism for assessing airline operational costs during the Christmas period. They also called for a 50% reduction in aviation taxes and for the central bank to prioritize foreign exchange for airline operators at reasonable rates. The House Committee on Aviation has been directed to interface with the industry and report back within 7 days. The Senate has launched an investigation into what it describes as uneven enforcement of President Bola Tinubu's directive ordering the withdrawal of police personnel from VIPs. Raising the matter under Order 9, Senator Abdul Ningi of Bauchi Central raised concerns on the Senate floor over the withdrawal of his only police orderly.
Senator Ningi questioned why many political office holders still have police protection while his security was removed, calling for fairness and uniform application of the directive from the President and Vice President to ministers and others. Senator Ningi also noted that some ministers, business persons, and entertainers continue to receive police protection despite the security withdrawal order. He urged the leadership of the Senate to direct the Police Affairs Committee to investigate this selective enforcement, warning that the National Assembly should not be singled out.
I cannot ever imagine that a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who has been here for a very long time, only one orderly, and he is withdrawn, and nothing will happen. Like I said earlier, Mr. President, I have no problem, but let it be done across the board.
Deputy President of the Senate, Jibril Barau, acknowledged the concerns, confirming that the Police Affairs Committee will look into the reports. Senator Barau explained the withdrawal aims to boost police efforts against Nigeria's security challenges and assured that the Senate remains committed to protecting its members.
The police orderlies that were withdrawn from the senators is of concern to us, and I will raise the issue, and we're dealing with that, in the formal line. The chairman of the Police Affairs Committee should take up this matter, conduct a proper investigation, and let us know why is the directive of Mr. President being flouted. Mr. President gave that order in order to strengthen our police force to deal with our internal security problems, and it was done in good faith.
He expressed hope President Tinubu would consider and restore Senate Ningi's police orderly and praised the President's efforts to improve national security with the Senate's full support.
Meanwhile, at the House, a heated session in Nigeria's House of Representatives at plenary nearly descended into chaos as lawmakers clashed over a motion demanding that Central Bank Governor Yemi Cardoso appear before Parliament to explain alleged non-remittance of more than 16 trillion naira. The uproar erupted during debate on a motion moved by Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Bamidele Salam, who told the House that committee findings uncovered massive unremitted funds, including 5.2 trillion naira in operating surpluses, 954 million naira in withheld remitted charges, and 11 billion naira collection gap, and another 2.6 trillion naira linked to migration shortfalls. Altogether, liabilities to the federal government reportedly exceed 11 trillion naira. But tension spiked when Tijani Gali called for the creation of an expanded ad hoc committee to handle the investigation, a proposal that drew sharp objections from several lawmakers. Shouting broke out across the chamber, halting proceedings.
Disturbed us that despite several formal communications and invitations extended to the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria by the Public Accounts Committee to appear, provide explanations, and remit the outstanding amount into designated government account.
The officer, an appointee of the president, disregarded the invitation of a committee, one committee that was mentioned in the Constitution of this Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Efforts to restore order forced Speaker Tajudeen Abbas to intervene. The Speaker warned members on unruly behavior and stressed that disputes must be resolved through voting, not confrontation.
So what is the point of you always shouting as if putting that question will take away a right that belongs to you?
Soon after, Ahmed Jahar proposed an amendment reaffirming the Public Accounts Committee's authority to summon the CBN governor. The House adopted the motion through a voice vote, prompting Gali to withdraw his earlier amendments.
Inasmuch as the committee has written severally to the agency and they have not been honoring, this time around is a resolution of the House for them to appear before the committee.
In a separate development, the House also passed a motion by Seydou Abdullahi calling for a full waiver of COVID-19 survival loans owned by vulnerable households and micro businesses, along with a restructuring of the SME components of the facility.
This suggests that the current outstanding exposure may be significantly lower and therefore physically manageable for a structured waiver.
The House is expected to issue a fresh summons to the CBN governor in the coming days as lawmakers push for answers on the alleged multi-trillion naira discrepancies. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has formally presented the federal government's 2026 to 2028 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper to both the House of Representatives and the Senate, setting the stage for work to begin on the 2026 national budget. The document, already approved by the Federal Executive Council, now awaits swift legislative action as requested by the President. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has transmitted the federal government's 2026 to 2028 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, MTEF-FSP, to the House of Representatives for consideration and approval. In the letter read by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, the President informed the House that the document was approved at the Federal Executive Council meeting of December 3, 2025, and will guide the preparation of the 2026 national budget. He sought the cooperation of the National Assembly for swift legislative action.
The 2026 to 2028 MTEF and FSP was approved during the Federal Executive Council meeting of December 3rd, 2025.
A motion seeking the review and reform of the contributory pension scheme to improve retirees' welfare moved by Afukpe Afolabi was likewise adopted.
The stop that the contributory pension scheme has failed to address the harsh economic reality faced by retirees, such as increased inflation and living costs.
In addition, the House approved a motion by Sesi Wingan urging the federal government to declare January 15th as a national public holiday in honor of the Nigerian Armed Forces to strengthen national remembrance and appreciation of the military's sacrifices.
With designated national holiday, limit citizens' participation in wreath-laying ceremonies, remembrance parades, military honor events, school-based civic lessons, and community-led tributes, thereby weakens national consciousness of military history.
Also, a motion on the need to reject the proposed ceding of parts of Edo State for the creation of Sorobe State, moved by Omosede Igbenedion, was adopted.
Acknowledges the importance of inclusive development and state creation and national growth, but insists that no such initiative must come at the expense of a people's identity, history, or sovereignty.
Meanwhile, two Bayelsa lawmakers, Rodney Amabwe and Ogbofo Ofoji, announced their defection from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC. Tajudeen Abbas read their letters in which the lawmakers cited divisions within the PDP's national leadership that have affected state chapters, creating uncertainty over who leads the party's affairs.
The submission follows the usual legislative process that sets the financial guidelines for the government over the next 3 years ahead of the annual budget presentation. The document, which received approval from the Federal Executive Council on December 5th, was formally presented during today's Senate plenary by the Deputy Senate President Barrow Jibril. Senator Jibril has now referred the paper to the Senate Committee on Finance, taxing them to report back by Wednesday, December 17.
It is with pleasure that I forward the 2026-2028 medium-term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy Paper, MTEF and FSP, for the kind consideration and approval of the distinguished Senate. The 2026 to 2028 MTEF and FSP was approved during the Federal Executive Council meeting of December 3rd, 2025.
The Senate adjourned plenary to give committees time to examine the framework alongside the screening of ambassadorial nominees.
Let's take a break here, and on the flip side, we'll look at more unfolding of legislative proceedings at plenary before its adjournment. To have you back on the program, The Parliament. At the committee level, the House of Representatives Public Accounts Committee has given the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited a final deadline of December 15 to appear before it and submit all outstanding documents relating to 2021 audit queries. Committee chairman issued the directive at a strategic meeting in Abuja. He expressed displeasure over NNPCL's continued refusal to honor the committee's invitations, describing the conduct as disrespectful to the parliament.
Okay, which is still thought. So we'll give you up till Monday 15th, but before then, liaison officer, please ensure that whoever has a responsibility to submit any of the outstanding documents that have not been submitted does so. It is very important that we have the necessary documents to work with.
Before the ruling, the chairman read a letter from NNPCL's Group Chief Executive Officer, Engineer Bayo Ojulari, who explained his absence due to an engagement at the presidential villa. But lawmakers faulted the company's attitude, insisting it was obstructing the audit review.
Mr. Chairman, sir, this committee is very important to oversight everybody in this country. NNPC cannot be above this company. Does it mean that they have not been auditing their account for the past these 2 years that have been a limited liability company for years? It's just a matter that they have audited their company. They have done all they can do. Why don't they just find a time, come and resolve this one before we go to other years?
Following an appeal from NNPCL's National Assembly Liaison Officer, Umar Farouk, the committee granted a final grace for the company to appear on December 15th and tender all required documents.
On this engagement with presidency. So that is why, Mr. Chairman, sir, if you can recall, we were here with you on Friday. We were here with you, on Wednesday to show our seriousness and to show our readiness with our management to come and appear before this August committee.
NNPCL is expected to respond to several audit red flags, including payments to contractors for abandoned projects, failure to deduct statutory taxes, and alleged irregular payment by the Chief Finance Officer without due approval. The committee says NNPCL's compliance next week will determine its next line of action on the 2021 audit queries. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is raising serious concerns over the continued withholding of more than 30 billion naira recovered from the National Social Investments Program Agency, NSIPA. Lawmakers warn that the delayed release of the funds is crippling the government's flagship poverty alleviation schemes and denying support to millions of vulnerable Nigerians. The alarm was triggered during Tuesday's plenary after a motion of urgent public importance moved by Saidu Abdullahi, member representing Niger State. Abdullahi told the House that NSIPA is the federal government's central coordinating body for major social intervention programs, from the GEEP micro credit schemes to the homegrown school feeding program and the grants for vulnerable groups. He said these initiatives were designed to lift poor households, boost school nutrition, support small businesses, and stabilize communities across the country.
Credible sources have indicated that this recovery funds estimated that over 30 billion have not been remitted into NSIPA's designated treasury single account
thereby stalling program implementation and leaving millions of intended beneficiaries without the social and economic support envisioned by the federal government.
The lawmaker recalled that President Bola Tinubu suspended NSIPA operations in January 2024 to allow for a thorough investigation into alleged financial misconduct. According to him, various security and anti-corruption agencies subsequently traced, froze, and recovered billions of naira from commercial banks and payment service providers' funds originally meant for key programs like trader money, market money, farmer money, and the vulnerable groups grant. He warned that the delay is stalling the implementation of social programs and leaving millions of intended beneficiaries without critical economic relief.
Deeply concerned that the prolonged non-release of these funds undermines the Renew Hope agenda by slowing down poverty alleviation efforts, weakening small-scale enterprises, exacerbating hardship in rural and urban communities, delaying local economic stimulation, and eroding public trust in the government's social protection commitments.
Responding to the motion, Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, who presided over plenary, announced that an ad hoc committee will be constituted to investigate all funds recovered from NSIPA between 2024 and 2025.
The Constitution will start from tomorrow. After we finish our consideration of report, because the other paper is going to be light, we'll start debate on the Constitution. This will take place tomorrow, Wednesday.
He assured that the committee's findings will help establish accountability and determine the exact status of the withdrawn funds. And that's the much we can take on this edition of the program. See you next week on the Parliament, on Global Television, on DSTV channel 365 and on StarTimes channel 276. To stay connected, kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now showing on your screen using @GlobalTVNG. Thank you to my production team. Until I come your way the next time, I am Anieti Patrick. Bye for now.